All right, so you'll be episode 185. All right.
Yeah.
15
great
more to
number.
go. 15 more to go.
15.
Good to go? All right, all right. Hello, hello, hello. This is the 185th episode of the Mental Threads podcast. I got my guest right here, Mr. Mental. I want to keep it cool. You got to speak right into the microphone just to make sure.
Got you.
Yeah. You can pretty much hear yourself, right?
Oh, yeah, I can hear myself.
All right, dope.
Y'all didn't know what it is, man.
Yeah, dope.
Excited to be here.
Yeah, Mental is an artist straight from York, South Carolina, currently residing in Charlotte, North Carolina. I met him at Charlotte Sparks. He's really tapped in with a lot of the artists that I've spoken with, artists like Solus, Haydix, and Queenie Love, and anything like that. So when coming from York, South Carolina to like Charlotte, were you kind of like, in a sense, more and more inspired, or like, meeting all these different artists in one town and kind of just building rapport with them and everything?
I'd say that, like, it was definitely a lot of inspiration, but I saw it more as necessarily, like, getting wisdom. Because a lot of these artists have been here for a while, and they've been performing since they've been in high school. A lot of people like Spaz and a lot of people like Rockstar have been doing this for a while. And I'm definitely inspired in the way that they're very driven. Like DDA Tink is another person who's very, very driven.
Gotta get her on.
Yeah, for sure.
To get her on.
Got to. And she is not a force to be reckoned with. You know what I'm saying? So definitely a lot of energies like that I definitely do get inspired from. But like I said, I speak with Solus a lot. I speak with Rockstar a lot. And it's really just trying to get as much knowledge as I can so that I can be where they're at.
Yeah, man, but I feel like you're a little bit too humble though, for sure, because like you're a really dope artist as well. Like I listen to your music and you can be able to like do boom bop and everything, like MF Doom. Like literally, we're listening to your songs in the car and went straight to like Nas, like
right,
on the playlist. So it's just like that should be able to tell you and everything exactly like really like how skilled you are as an artist. But also outside of boom bop, you could really like go in with a more modern type take as well, which is like you don't like to mess with that side and everything. You want to go towards more like a boom bop and everything. And what really pushed you to like want to go that direction of boom bop?
So I guess it was more so just me growing up, and because whenever I started music, like we were saying earlier, I started with poetry, and it was really just an outlet to sort of get my feelings and my thoughts out there, because I didn't really feel like I had a lot of people to talk to, and there were a couple people missing from my life at the time, and so when I sort of started with that, I also got more so into instruments, which of course, they say as a kid, you can really tell what someone's going to do when they grow up because of the toys that they choose. And me, I'd always be with the drum set. I always be with like the tambourine, stuff like that, the recorders. So I slowly started messing with like guitars and stuff. And a lot of the stuff I was doing was acoustic and like old soft rock hits. I would do like campfire music with my family and stuff like that. And then as I started to sort of move away from my family and just sort of become my own person, I really started to gravitate towards rap, which of course I grew up with all types of music around me, but it was really on more so of a hippie, Christian-based rock sort of vibe. And
Still pretty dope though.
Yeah. Grew up having to listen to rap censored, like it can't have any cuss words, can't talk about nothing weird, you know what I'm saying? So, as I started to go more towards in that route, I also became rebellious.
Okay.
As teenagers typically do.
Yeah.
So I obviously started gravitating towards, XXXTentacion, Ski Mask, Lil Uzi Vert, got to, rebellious teen energy, you got to stick with those. But
rest in peace to X.
Nah, for sure. Juice, Lil Peep, rest in peace, everybody who's became, lost in the industry, but people influenced by them are keeping them alive, and I definitely respect that. I'm never one to trash anybody for what they choose to do or like the way that they choose to present their art. It's just in the way that I'm growing and the way that I am becoming as a person. I feel like that genre of music where I'm gravitating towards now is a better outlet to get that message out there. Because, a lot of people choose graffiti. A lot of people choose to paint on canvases. A lot of people choose cooking.
Yeah.
Just to get their emotions out and to get their art out. And that's just more so where I see myself going back full circle to poetry.
He's a chef too, y'all. Just want to show out he knows how to cook.
Got to.
We'll get to that in a little bit and everything.
Self-sustained.
Self-sustained, that's the word.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like, yeah, man, I feel like that's very interesting that you have so many different, sides to yourself and everything, going like from that background and like gravitating more to hip hop and even doing like being a chef as well. But at the same token, it's just like, life in like York, South Carolina, how would you like, diverge like between like life in like York, South Carolina, and Charlotte? Because I know you saw Charlotte as more like the place like to visit, and like now you actually moved down here. I mean, up here, like in a sense. But it's just like, well, how would you describe like the differences between living in New York and here in Charlotte?
So York, because a lot of people, whenever I tell them that I'm from York, they're like, "Where?" And I'm like, "Clover." They're like
New York.
Yeah, exactly.
Because everybody from New York moves down to Charlotte.
Exactly, and that's really the first initial reaction that I usually get. But then once they realize the area, it's kind of like, oh, okay, middle of nowhere. So, I grew up, in a very country, small town, very conservative, a lot of old white people around, and that was just my upbringing. That was, the area that I was in, and here it's more so like it's very diverse. You meet all walks of life, all people from everywhere. In York, 9 times out of 10, if you run into someone, they're from York. Okay. Here it's like, you might not know where they're from. So it's like, it's definitely very diverse. And I kind of moved up here to like get away from certain things, but it was kind of ignorant of me to think that wouldn't follow. So like, it doesn't really matter where you are. There's always going to be certain things that you're trying to run away from. They're just going to be there. So I definitely came up here for a better life for me and my fiance. But I would say that now it's just really just to be goal driven. You can't really, when you live in the middle of nowhere, it's very easy to get stuck there. Yeah. I know people who from out of high school they choose that's where they're going to be for the rest of their life. They have a kid, whether in high school or straight out of high school. They get married. They, get hooked on all types of stuff. And I wasn't going to let myself be another victim of that.
Oh, yeah.
So I had to get out of there, man. I had to disconnect and just sort of get out of that energy, man.
No, I commend you for actually taking that step, though, because really just to step out of your hometown, bro, it takes a lot of courage.
It was a lot.
Yeah, because it's just like, Charlotte's a really it's not even a fast city compared to like a New York or a Miami, obviously, but it's like at the same token, like leaving from a place like York and then just coming here and everything, it's a very good way to like kind of introduce you to city life in a sense. Oh, yeah. Yeah, but at the same token, it's just like, there's still a whole lot of diversity of people like coming into the city as well. Right. And so it kind of leave from something more like, more familiar like a York and then going to someplace, different like Charlotte where there's so many different faces you're bound to meet, but still being pretty open despite your the conservativeness that you probably were open to back then. I feel like that takes a lot of courage and everything and time to just kind of change your surroundings to that degree. Oh, yeah. And so on. Because even I'm considering like just relocating to DC for a little bit, just to get my MBA and everything, so it's just like just for a temporary bit and then just come back, a bit better and stronger for Charlotte and everything. Because, growing up, it's just like growing up in Charlotte, I was just like, oh, I can't wait to leave. And it's like, yeah, like when I left Charlotte, I went to Durham for college and everything. I feel like some of my biggest triumphs happened outside of the city. Exactly. But at the same token, it's just like, at the same time, this is like my city. We're still like an underdog city. We're still growing very rapidly, minor. But, we have yet to win a championship in basketball and football. We tried with the football thing twice, and it didn't go the way how we wanted it to. But, we still are working to, like, that next big W for the city after losing CIAA and so on and so forth. So it's just like, this is definitely, like, a place you want to really, really find yourself in, because we're still growing ourselves as well.
Yeah, and I think that's really what it was, is that I was so fed up and I was lost in it. I was straight out of high school. I didn't go straight to work because I was actually engaged in high school. Oh, dope. To an ex-fiance. Oh. Yeah. Okay. So
ex-fiance is a word.
Yeah. Anyways, so I was so stuck in it and I was so fed up and things with my family just started clashing and I was just like so ready to get out. I was like, what is a drastic change without being in the middle of the ocean without a paddle.
Oh yeah.
You know, so I was like, come up here, you know, completely new scene, completely new lifestyle. You know, everyone's grinding up here. Everyone is doing their thing. Like,
and it's not too far. Like, you're just 40 minutes. So it's just like
Exactly.
just a jug, you know, just a little, just put on a podcast and you're there.
right. So if it didn't work, you know, I would be able to, you know, have that safety net, obviously, because it can be very scary regardless of how fed up someone may be. It is definitely smart to weigh out those options.
Oh yeah, sure, most definitely. And it's just like, since you've moved here, would you say like what are some positives, some negatives coming to Charlotte?
I would say that definitely a lot of positives is that you're able to meet like-minded people. You are able to reach opportunities and ears, listeners. You are able to build a fan base more so, because I know a lot of people from small towns, they typically have a cult following, and it'll be a small amount of diehard people, but that's not really my aim. My aim is to sort of have a large following of people who just kind of mess with my, you know, my art and maybe even just my energy.
Yeah.
And then word of mouth, or maybe someone's listening to it, it comes on, maybe they don't change it.
Yeah.
You know, maybe they just decide to listen to it and see what's up.
Oh yeah.
So really,
you get
it's
a lot
just,
of that, bro. Your music's dope, like for real.
I appreciate it. I really do. I definitely take a lot of pride. And that's something I also had to step aside from, getting a little bit off topic. But I had to step away from being so personal with my art and realizing that everyone's doing the same shit. Like it's not, and not in the terms of like what they're doing, but like everyone's reaching the same goal. So it is never personal, never at all. But I would say that's also positive. I've been able to change and mature a lot because I also went from 23 to now 25.
Yeah.
And then in April, I'm going to be 26.
Yeah.
So
I'm
it's
turning
like,
27 this month. Like,
damn,
it's
hell
like
yeah,
life
hell
goes
yeah.
by fast. I'm like, dang, I got 3 more years of this 20 shit and I got to
Exactly.
figure shit out.
Exactly.
You know, and it's
that's-
just like, especially in this generation too, I feel like the odds are really stacked up against us a whole lot, you know. So for you to like kind of stay on your own in a whole nother city and make that work, like I still commend you and everything, because it's just like, it's difficult to really just find your footing. Like I just left the job and everything, and job been working since like April of last year and everything. And like corporate, it's okay, but it's just like, you know, when you realize they just ask so much out of you and everything, and it's just like, you know, this ain't even the stuff I really wanted to do, like type stuff, you know, and like, you know, I'm trying to do it just for the pay, and then it's just like, you know, you get lost, and it's just like, then you don't meet certain, you know, qualities, then you're putting so much into it just to match that. And it's like, bro, that's not even me, bro.
Exactly.
Like, you know, just like, it's just one of those things. But, you know, it's just a matter of like, I feel like a lot of us have to kind of make compromises with a lot and everything to try to fit into a system that's not even really benefiting us, like at all. Like we're not giving no help at all and everything. So it's like, you know, yeah, I get it for sure.
corporate ladder.
Yeah, corporate ladder.
capitalism. Yeah.
Capitalism.
But nah, we
Yeah.
get stuck in feeding into it because of our necessity to live.
Yeah.
And so I, you know, being at Amazon, I definitely understand what you're saying. It's very easy to get caught up in, you know, oh, I have to appease my boss because, but I really don't want to be here.
Yeah.
And then it's a repetition. It's like, bro, I don't want to be here. Like,
Yeah, it's just like, you know, and then trying to find balance off that and just focus on like your art and everything and trying to build a fan base as well. You know, it could be rather difficult and everything, but you know, I feel like nothing that's worth anything is gained easily.
Exactly.
So it's just like, even with this whole podcast thing, like I'm 180 some episodes deep right now, and I only got like 50 subscribers, but I still see that as a W and everything, because it's like I just started this whole YouTube thing like literally last year, and like I wasn't doing YouTube, I was just doing like the regular podcast Spotify thing, and like I was just kind of okay with that. But at the same time, you want to do something different every time, because if you don't do something different and then you just keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, it just becomes dull.
Right,
And
right.
everything. So it's just like, I'm glad I was able to find like, you know, a studio to work in, shall
Oh,
I
yeah.
say. And also just like, you know, to actually kind of build like a sense of like a routine with it as well. As well as like, you know, the positives of connecting with new people, because I love to meet new people. And like now we're like, you know, 180 episodes deep, and like you've enjoyed the episodes as well, of course.
Oh yeah, of course. I've seen, like you said, a couple of people that I know within the community, like Solus and Spaz and Queenie Love. A lot of those people, Hadex, who have been on this podcast, and I saw a couple of your episodes had like 100 views, and I'm like, I remember when I was releasing music on Discord, and like to my little chat group, and I would get like 100, 150 on a song, and that was like just the best feeling in the world.
Yeah, no, seriously. It's like you think like it's not a big number and everything, but it's really a big number because that's like 50 people saying like, bro, I gotta watch that next episode that comes out. And they're getting a notification off of it.
Exactly.
And you're not even like, and I'm not even like pushing it out there like that. I'm just kind of building the content like right now, like so before I really like, start pushing out reels and everything and stuff like that. And that's when things will really, really take off. So it's just like, but even on that note, like I can be able to look back like, wow, I really been consistent with this stuff for like a while.
For sure.
And everything.
For sure. Dedication.
And then speaking with all types of people. So it's just stuff like that. And then I hear like music like yours and stuff like, wow, this is really, really dope. And so on and everything. And it's just like for you to even like reinforce boom bop in a time where people don't even like try to push like that. Because a lot of people like to talk about sex rap, drugs and everything and just gangbang. And then after a while, it just kind of gets played out because it's like, you start to feel like, okay, like there's like a certain like, there's an agenda being pushed, but now it's being pushed to such a degree where it's obvious and everything. What are your thoughts on that? Yeah,
exactly. It's like it's almost as if it's weird if an artist so when an artist like I know Lil Durk and I think maybe NBA YoungBoy at one point or something like that. Yeah. They would make a song that would be in more of a positive manner, and then it would absolutely blow up. And it's like, it's because it's so oversaturated with the negativity and it's so oversaturated. Like I said, I would never judge anyone for the music that they make. But especially when the people at the top of these industries are trying to push a sort of, like you said, agenda onto impressionable young people and even people who may not be considered young, like 30, 40, just people listening to the music. And it's obvious that people crave something different, but that's not what they're pushing. Yeah. So it's like, I don't really care about the money at the end of the day. Yes, I do want to build a career off of this. Yes, I do want to be able to be self-sustained with this music.
Yeah, be comfortable.
Exactly.
Something that you like to do. Yeah,
exactly. And even if I don't end up, as big as like Lil Nas X, Doja Cat, whatever the case may be, I honestly don't care. As long as I'm able to pay my rent, pay my bills off of my music, I see that as a success.
Yes, so, and then you can focus on the bigger things.
Exactly. Yeah. So I would rather just be authentic and speak about the things that I think really matter. And also have fun with it, because I do make a couple songs where I'm not necessarily trying to be woke or I'm not trying to, bring attention to something. But I do feel as if the ones that I want to focus on are going to be bringing attention to something and are going to be shoving something in someone's face that they may not be comfortable with. And that's just what it is, man. You gotta step outside your comfort zone sometimes.
Yeah, and that's what hip hop was founded on and everything. They were actually like, even though they're making parties and everything like that, but they will also make songs like where they're actually going on what was actually going on, like for the blue collar people and like people who couldn't find employment, in the 80s and stuff of that nature. And then it's just like kind of have the struggles with that and everything. And a lot of that resonated with people like, oh wow, I'm going through the same thing and everything. And just think of like how like Excess and Tox, it could be like on some rage type stuff and everything, and then next would be actually be able to harmonize on another song, so it's like that's so many different emotions that people are relating to. Right. And like even with Lil Peep and everything, speaking on his, like I don't listen to a whole lot of Lil Peep songs, but even like speaking about like like what he had to go through and everything, and then his sounds that resonate with a bunch of different people as well. I feel like those become timeless and everything, and then it's just like a lot of these like music that comes out is just more like it's like fast food. Like type rap and everything, and like I'll fuck with like McDonald's everything once in a while, but it's like you don't savor it to such a degree. Right. Like, oh man, that McDonald's I had like 2 weeks ago, it was like the best thing ever.
Exactly.
And it's just like it's just some stuff to just sustain you just for a little bit, but the things that really carry you, it motivates you. Like I feel like that's where it's just like you hear about artists like okay, we got Drake, we got like J. Cole and like Kendrick Lamar. Those are like obviously the top three and everything, but it's just like even with artists like like Russ who are like independent and everything. He has a strong fan base that like supports him and everything, and he's not like talking about like sex violence and all that types of stuff. And it's just like even with Drake and like J. Cole and like Kendrick obviously speaks about like a lot of things that goes in the system and society and everything, and Drake talks more like about heartfelt things and everything that resonates with people, and J. Cole kind of speaks for like the everyday man and stuff like that. Those things resonate and they're like the top of their game. But now it's getting to the point where it's like I feel like we're at a transitional period where it's like, there's going to be like a vacuum because, a lot of them reaching their 40s now. So like a lot of them going to start stepping down and, kind of removing themselves from that, from like the whole music. They might still be doing it.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like, there's going to be like a vacuum. And I feel like that's where the city of Charlotte can really like, kind of fill in that gap and everything. That's
Exactly.
an opportunity to kind of like, okay, like there's some artists here to kind of check out too.
Right. Exactly.
So it's like,
exactly. And it's not as uncommon as you may think for people to rap like that, because it just goes to show how oversaturated things are. That's a lot of the people who are winning competitions around here, and that's a lot of the people who are, winning these open mics like Training Day and Who Got a Banger whenever they were around. I don't know about Who Got a Banger, but I know Training Day, I think, was canceled again.
Yeah, sadly.
Yeah, but that's actually where I got my start. That was my first ever performance.
Oh,
here.
dope.
Yeah, ever doing music. That was my first time I'd ever gotten in front of anybody and did my music. Before that, it was only listening to what I had recorded. Like, oh, here's the finished product. But a lot of people around here are very lyrical, and have a lot of shit to talk about.
Yes,
but it's just like we said, a lot of people are getting pushed to the top that are doing the drugs and the women and the parties and whatever.
Yeah, and you think like Future and Dirk and everything, but you're seeing like now it's like it's starting to affect them now, like especially like Young Thug, which I'm glad he's out of jail and everything now. Yeah. But it's like dude was in prison for a minute over the RICO case. No, Dirk is now about to go to prison over like some stuff like that, and then it's just like it just goes on and on. It becomes like this ongoing cycle and stuff like that. While people like Cole and Kendrick and everything they're just focused on the art and everything, and then it's just like that carries on a little bit further.
Tyler, the Creator.
Yeah, Tyler, the Creator especially.
Killer.
And it's like he had to do a lot of growth as well and everything. Now he's like Grammy certified. You would have never thought that when he first came out and everything, but it's really just people who are willing to try new things and be different and be themselves authentically. That's what served him a lot more than a lot of the people that was, out at that time. Like, just think about all the people who were out at that time. Where the hell are they? And like, he even spoke about it too when they interviewed him. It's just like, that's just something to consider. The more authentic you are, the more like, grounded you are as an artist and willing to change and grow as you need to be and teach yourself a couple things. That's what's going to carry you further. So it's just like, even bouncing off of that, like, what was your experience like when you were first performing for Training Day?
So first performance, I went with Rockstar VR. Shout out to him. He got me in my first studio. He got me in my first performance. He really gave me the connections I needed. So I pull up and I meet a couple people. I meet obviously CEO, the I guess host or owner of Training Day. Met Trap Sid. Met I think Stack Raps.
Okay.
Yeah, he's killer, dude. He's met Scar. R.I.P. Scar.
R.I.P. Scar, yeah. He recently passed away like a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know the guy, but I saw that he passed away, and a lot of people really messed with him. So it was like, dang, I'm sad I didn't get to meet him and everything.
Right, exactly. And that's really the thing, is I wasn't really close with him, but it was definitely a hard hit because it is so close to home. But yeah, I stepped in. They all went. I was kind of getting nervous, may have had a few too many drinks, got some, they had a taco truck, so I went and got some tacos. And then I'm eating my taco, and I got like half a taco in my mouth. Like, I just bit it. And then
they just called you up.
Yeah, and then I hear Rockstar. He taps me on the shoulder. He said, "That's you." Oh. They just called you. I'm like, what? I'm like putting it down. I'm like wiping it off my hands, and then I go up, and I do. It's a song called Mob Psycho. I don't think it's out anymore, but it was on some more aggressive screaming stuff, and they really fucked with it.
Yeah,
and that was really surprising to me because coming from such a small town and coming from almost no gratification for what you do, it was like being seen for the first time.
Oh,
really? And it was definitely a very touching moment. It was very emotional, but I loved it. Like a lot of my pictures and stuff that I used to promote or like I use as profile pics came from that. So it's like a lot of videos too. Like I know in one video I was watching it back, and then Congo, another very talented artist, likes to speak up about a lot of shit. She was screaming in the background like while I was rapping, and then you got Scar doing like "Hey, yeah," and like all this other stuff, and like people like headbanging around me. I'm like, this is it. Like this may be just another Tuesday night to them, but this is like the start.
Yeah, and everything. Do you have any recollection as to why they started with the whole training day stuff? It's just like people were just being unprofessional. I know I heard a couple things like what Dapper Don said and everything.
I think not to get too much into it, but I think that it was more so just repetitive. I think that the same people were pulling up, and it was getting a lot less
diverse.
From what I experienced going there, it was a lot less diverse in the music, especially in the winners.
Okay.
And then people just stopped going. Like the crowds got smaller, and people wouldn't stick to the end because they already knew who was gonna win.
Oh, okay.
And that's really more so what the case was.
Okay, and what are some things you feel like that could have like happened differently to kind of keep training day here? Like maybe probably more artists need to take their time to actually like pull up to training day to kind of just like give that opportunity and everything to just perform and stuff. I have yet to perform a song. I dropped my first tape back in 2021. I never performed a song yet.
Yeah, we gotta get that going.
We gotta get that going.
Hey, y'all hit that like button. You want him to perform? Come on now. nah. But I think really it's really like minimal critique. I think that just a lot of people try to be something. Because they think that's what people want. But what people want is authenticity.
Yeah.
That's what people want. People want authenticity, and listen to people. Listen to people when they say something instead of taking it as critique and immediately becoming offended.
Take it as like, just hating.
Arrogance. Yeah.
Yeah, like, because I understand like people just probably have issues and telling the difference between like constructive criticism and just like whether they're hating on you and whatnot. And it's just like, I definitely know the difference, like, like, because at a very young, like what the difference between like people who critique it, like, because like when they're critiquing you, it'll be like, oh yeah, you need to work on your breathing control and everything, maybe just like, kind of give your toes down to like, just chill out, just maybe talk about different matters, a couple more things, stuff like that's more constructive because they're actually looking into the art and critiquing the art.
Exactly.
Whereas like there are people who straight up hate it, just like, oh, like this is nursery rhyme rap, this ain't nothing, and they don't even listen to the whole thing or actually like even like really check it out or anything of that nature, or probably just hate on a piece of it before like really digesting the whole product. So it's just like, I understand because there's a lot of people in Charlotte who like to act like know-it-alls and everything and act like they know shit when they really don't know shit. Yeah. And then they'll just start hating them. They'll be like people that just support them, but they never have a voice like for long. Like it just be like a YouTube comment. I think you like say like, oh yeah, that's funny. And then you scroll past and then you forget about it. They're forgettable and everything. But the people who actually put in the work, actually put the art in, they're unforgettable. So it's like, just one of those things where it's like, you just kind of have to take both and everything and just really just like, which is which, and then listen to what's what, but actually take it in. It's like to consider the following. Like, okay, there might be truth in it, but it's like it's not the be all end all type stuff.
Right, exactly. Because a lot of people think that their way is the only way, and they sort of get caught up in pride. I think that pride is the death of art. Pride is the death of art, and it is okay to talk your shit. It is okay to know that you are the shit. But it is also okay to change. Don't be so afraid of change. Like, change is so beautiful. Like, if nothing, we're seeing what happens when you don't change. Yeah. I mean, if not in your daily life, in politics and in, human decency and the way that people treat people, change is always beautiful. Yeah. It may be for the worst, it may be for the best, but it's like, if we never change, shit doesn't get done, dude. Yeah. Like, and that's why people end up getting shut down. That's why people end up quitting music. Yeah. That's why people give up on their dreams, because they're so caught up in thinking that they are right.
And just doing the same thing over and over without trying something different. That's why, like, I spoke with Oreo the Sage yesterday. And, like, you listen to Oreo the Sage's music. He does all types of stuff. It's not just one thing. And I even told, like, bro, that's going to carry you a lot further because it's just, like, people might be focus on one type of genre in 1 year and everything. And they might be into something completely different another year. But then it's, like, even if you do something different or, like, you do something, like, with the times of 1 year, it might become nostalgic in a couple years. They might swing past that and like a couple years like the sample or things like that. You know what I mean? Like it's always gonna have life to it to a certain degree, and that's like, you know, I feel that's gonna carry up on with him because he wanted to get more into Afro beats and everything. And just for telling me just that, I'm African. Like, you know, I might know a couple Afro beats artists as well that you can check in with, but also even beyond Afro beats, because everything has like, you know, like everything originates from something. Yeah. And then it's just like, you know, with like rap, they always sample stuff like the blues and things like that, that. So I told him about like, you know, there's like a playlist, and Gucci Ron was even in the background, like, hell yeah. I told him about like literally like, you know, this is like stuff that we play at cookouts and stuff like that, like African music, like, you know, like Zuku's type stuff and everything. And, you know, it's like stuff like from the 80s and 90s. He could also check in with to kind of like gain like a bit of the feeling. He might not understand none of the words, but it's just like just stuff like that. I even sent him links to a couple artists to check in with as well. And just off the jump, I just helped him like that. You know, it's just like there's always going to be people that are going to willing like to see you grow and help as well. You know, because I got a passion for music as well. So like I like helping artists, and I like talking with y'all and everything as well, because I'm an artist as well. So it's just like, you know, like even being an artist, I can understand when people don't want to help you or don't want to support or just try to gatekeep, and like there's a lot of that going on in Charlotte. So for you to not kind of like get that feeling from that and actually get that little support from like, you know, training day and everything, to kind of, it means a whole lot to you and everything. It really just says a lot. Like just a little bit of support, just a little bit of help, just a little bit of some subscriptions.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. As well,
exactly.
You know?
Guilty. Sorry.
No, please subscribe, y'all.
Yeah, please. But support the homies. Oreo, Gucci Ron. You know, those are cool people.
Coming on later today as well.
For sure. Got to check that out, because like, anytime I pull up to B Cinema, anytime, you know, Toro does great things over there at B Cinema, Passion Project, you know, they're doing great things right now. Anytime I pull up, those two dudes are there, just cutting up, man. And I love it. They have great energy. I've been doing some work with Oreo. I'm excited to do some work with Gucci as well. And yeah, it's just, I'm really excited to see what they got.
Yeah, for sure. And it's just like, I just like how we're all just becoming very familiar with each other to a degree where it's like I'll see people at Charlotte Spark and I'm like, wow, I met so many people and I've spoken to so many people before. And like, we're just all just chilling now. Like, it's like a crossover episode type stuff that we all just see each other around and everything. You might pull up at another event. Like I was just at Audio Box Studios the other day before it got shut up and everything. That's where I saw Gucci Ron again and everything. And like for the first, I don't know, like a while and everything. Well, hey, what's good, man? And he instantly remembered me, and I remembered him. We were just talking and stuff like that. It instantly made me feel comfortable because I didn't go to. That was my first time being an Audio Box and everything.
Is it nice?
Yeah. No, it's really nice. Yeah, it's really dope. It's like it's really in the cut and everything. I didn't even realize it was like right there. So, but it's like I just kind of stepped inside there. Like it was just really packed. And everybody was just like around supporting all types of artists and everything. And I just feel like, man, if we just keep this going for like a while and everything, we could really make something happen. If we just all just keep working with each other and so on and so forth. So
sharing of the minds.
Yeah, sharing of the minds.
I'm all for that. I love it. I would never ever, hide my wisdom from somebody. You know, I may subtract a little bit because of how they react to it, but it's at the end of the day, it's really just how much they want to hear.
Yeah, just it's like, just got a little bit of cappuccino there. They can't give them the espresso automatically. Exactly. They can't go too strong.
Exactly. Like and everything. I think this. And then it's like how they react to that. I'm like, I'll either be like, or I'll be like, okay, all right. So I'll never hide my wisdom from anybody, but I also won't give it to anybody.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really something that I live by.
Yeah, that's definitely a word for sure. But just going into like your hobbies and stuff like that, I know you're also a chef and everything. What are some other things that you like to do?
So I was really into painting and graffiti for a little bit, but not really much anymore. It was more so just something I had picked up. I'm really into games. Okay. I play a lot of something I'm really into right now is like Skate 3 and Rocket League and Apex and stuff like that, whatever.
My brother loves skate games.
Skate 3 is like amazing. All the skate games are great. I love the way the mechanics work and everything like that on the controller is insane. But
didn't they do a remake of like one of the Tony Hawk games and everything? They put it on next gen, like 40 on PlayStation 4 and stuff like that.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I need to look into that because I think they did make a remake.
They might have, yeah. But really, other than that, music is truly, I'm obsessed with music. Like I love music, and if I'm not, I would say maybe like art I like looking at art and just anything artistic. Like my fiance is in cosmetology college.
Okay.
So, you know, even body art and stuff like that. They do digital art. So definitely a lot of my hobbies recently is just work and then more work. You know, just as soon as I get home, it's right back to work. And whenever I am home, I'm doing music.
Yeah, all right.
So I'm really just trying to hone in on what I'm doing right now. But whenever I need a break, definitely cooking. You know, to make something, it's just another form of art. Because I mean, to make something and then become satisfied by it because you're sitting here eating it and you get to enjoy the fruits of your labor. It's like, and it's good. It's like, oh, come on now. Like, that's really just my main thing.
Yeah, I know you say you like to make a dumplings, a sushi, and a macaroni and cheese and everything. What are some other things you like to make?
Definitely a whole bunch of Southern centered cooking. You know, like I make a lot of fried chicken, collard greens. I make, like you said, mac and cheese. I might do like a chicken pot pie or like a beef stew.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So steak, all that, roasted vegetables, anything.
Would you consider making like your starting your own restaurant as well?
Oh, definitely not. Definitely not.
No, restaurant.
I think music is really where my passion lies.
I mean, like maybe retirement type stuff, like maybe in your 40s, 50s type
maybe.
stuff. Yeah, that's
maybe.
what I mean.
I know
like
Eminem has like a
mom spaghetti.
Yeah. So maybe something like that. Like if I make a song like Chicken and Gravy or something like that, you know, I might do like a little chicken spot. But other than that, you know, my passion is in music and the cooking is really just for my loving fiance, that's, you know, to enjoy.
Yeah, but also like even like with stuff like cooking, there's a whole lot of cultural elements that come with it that you could pass down for generations. Oh yeah. Like I'll be thinking like, cause like one of my resolutions this year is really just to keep updating my family tree and everything, which I haven't done in a while and stuff like that, because I want to be able to just be able to document everybody that's connected and everything in my family tree, but also as well, it's good to like keep things like cookbooks and everything just to kind of reference maybe in a couple generations, like, oh wow, my great-great-grandfather used to make stuff like this and stuff like that. Right. And you know, my mom makes a lot of like wonderful foods that like people never even heard of, like peanut butter garlic chicken. Like you tell people that, it's like, what, peanut butter garlic chicken? No, it tastes amazing, bro. Yeah, it's a little bit greasy, but it's good.
Yeah, I've heard of like peanut butter like chicken, like peanut butter curry or something like that. I've heard of that, but like I'm interested.
Peanut butter. That
sounds like it's pretty good. Yeah,
sure. Like one day if she makes it, I'll be sure to just let her know. I gotta let MENTXL try this stuff.
For sure.
I know you want to try other multicultural stuff. Like I know you had like some Dominican oxtails and everything. Oh, yeah. And I like that experience. Like, which compare foods do you want? Do you want to the one right up the street, like from
South Boulevard?
On South Boulevard.
On South Boulevard, they do 50-cent tacos on Wednesdays.
Oh, really?
I think it's Wednesdays. It might be Tuesdays. That would make more sense. But I think on Wednesdays they do like some kind of $5 or 5-cent tacos type thing.
Yeah, I need to swim. I used to work at Compare Food. That was my first job and everything, because they got a one right up the street and everything where I stay at and stuff like that. That was weird. Oh, yeah, but they really had a really good restaurant, which I need to swing by and try again. You know, just for the nostalgic side of it and everything. But it's really, really good.
I would say it's good quality for the price.
Yeah, good quality for the fight. This is like really home cooked meals too and everything. Yeah, especially when I want to stay from all the fast food type stuff and everything. You know, it's good that we just go like a home cooked type meal. Yeah. Rice and beans.
Right. And I definitely understand like wanting to like sort of build a family tree and stay updated with it and pass down certain things. Growing up, I definitely had my fair share of that. Like my very Southern Christian family on my dad's side had a couple like pamphlet, like church cookbooks that they would keep up with. And then my mom obviously had some recipes that I would want to carry on. Like my grandmother on my mom's side made her own pickles.
Oh.
Yeah, so and they lived right across the street. And she was also German. Like very thick German, like escaped World War II bunkers, like German hardcore. So she made like the best food in our family. And sadly, I can't get those recipes because she passed away due to COVID.
Yeah.
But
my
definitely
condolences and my condolences.
Right, of course, thank you.
Fuck COVID.
Nah, for sure. Anyone who thinks that's just fake, you are stupid, bro. I'm telling you, that shit is real as fuck. Yeah. But and it's still around. A lot of people forget that. Yeah. But yeah, definitely I've been trying to reconnect with sort of my roots in a more positive manner, because I do look at my roots in a more negative manner. Especially now that I have cut off my entire family. I still have discussions with my father and my mom when I can. But I would say that's sort of where you and me might have a visual difference or a relative difference, because while I completely support passing down, generations of recipes and stuff like that, I think that I'm going to be the start of my family tree. Okay. Just like in a spiritual sense, obviously not in a physical sense, but like replacing my last name, completely rejuvenating who I am and what I want to carry on.
Okay, and what are you considering like for a new surname and everything? Trying to make some more common, or just something like different and like to you?
Just something that, like, because me and my fiance, when we get married, we want to kind of meld our two names together. Oh, okay. So it's still going to be there, because you can never forget who you were. Yes. You can never forget where you came from, because like I said, change is how we grow. Okay. So I definitely am not trying to erase where I came from.
Oh, no. Just want to keep like medical history and stuff like that. It's just like, but yeah, just if you want to be, it's nothing wrong with trying to start anew and trying to set your family to a completely different direction.
Yeah, it's more spiritual. Yeah. It's not at all, I'm not trying to run away from who I was. Yeah. I'm accepting that that's not what I am anymore.
That's fine. That is just fine. That is just fine. And it takes a lot of courage to go that way as well, because like just sticking stuff to stuff that you're more used to and then trying to do something different. I never met anybody trying to like meld a surname together to make something new, because a last name just could be anything, type stuff, and people can just pick a word. It's like, okay, I like pickles. My last name is pickles.
And that's really the thing, is I did think about that, but I still want to be me. Like I still want to be that little boy growing up in the middle of York County, I still want to be that, because that's still who I was. And so we were just sitting down one night after dinner, and I was like, they were like, so are you going to get my name, or am I going to get like, what's up? And I was like, I don't want my fucking name. I was like, I do not want my last name, but I also don't want your family's last name.
Yeah, just mix it together.
Yeah, exactly. We were both kind of feeling the same way when it came to that. Yeah. And so we were like, why not just make our own? Yeah. Like, just mix it.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty dope. Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. And everything, it's just like, and then just to know that it just came down to you want to change it. People change their last names all the time. I think like with Donald Trump's family, I think the original surname was actually Drumpf and everything.
Wow.
Like, yeah, DRUMPF and everything. That's just like, yeah. Cause yeah, he's from his grandfather was straight out of Germany type stuff.
Oh, okay.
And his Donald Trump's grandfather actually, when he first came, he started in the Wild West and everything, where he ran a brothel and everything like that. So he went from brothel to his son doing like real estate, and then now his grandson becoming president of the United States.
Right.
Type stuff. So it's just like, it really kind of gives that inclination that that's the beautiful thing about America, is like, things can really change for your family generations on. If you want to be that change, you can be able to steer that change to whatever direction you see fit and everything. So
breaking generational chains.
Generational change.
Really
generational curses.
Yeah, exactly.
Just say screw that.
Exactly. That's my whole goal. And there's even a dude who changed his name into Batman Superman.
I don't know if you heard about that. But I heard something about it.
I mean, damn, dude, they don't get more like free than that. Like, that's crazy, dude. Yeah. Like, you changed your name to two fictional superheroes.
Yeah, I mean, well, my name, my real government name is T. Dolake Sefili and everything. Damn. So it's like, it's just like, my name, like the name T actually means black in my native language, and I didn't even realize it. And then like Dolake, like, like for Liberian culture, they always give you like a surname that actually like has like a super meaning and everything. Yeah. I was named after my father's favorite uncle, his uncle Dolake, and that's where the middle name comes from. Like Dolake in my native language means one can't make it alone, or togetherness is key to progress, basically. So it's like they got all that shit from like a word. I don't know.
I'm straight out the Bible.
Yeah.
Jacob. That's my name. Yeah. Okay. And then my dad's name was David, and then I think his dad before him was David, so my dad is actually a junior. But Yeah, a lot of biblical names in my family.
Oh, okay,
but,
that's dope.
that's awesome. That's a beautiful
You
name.
want to keep
man.
it going and just go next one like Abraham or like Moses?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
You're not sure.
I don't want to. I don't want to say too much, but
Yeah.
just because I'm very, I don't like to speak about things that haven't happened yet.
Yeah.
But I definitely am going in a more powerful. Like
Okay.
I want the name to be powerful, and
That's
I want it, whether it comes from biblical, whether it comes from spiritual, whether it comes from whatever it may come from.
Yeah.
I just want it to be powerful. And I want it to
Solomon,
be
right
beautiful.
there.
Nah, I don't know about that, but nah, like maybe like an archangel or something like that. Just,
Okay, I
yeah,
see
something
that.
powerful.
Okay, that's dope. And even my last name, Sefili, that's actually two words actually put together. See, Say is what you would name like your firstborn son and everything. You know,
Are you firstborn?
Yeah, I'm firstborn.
okay.
But it's like it's just like a common name and everything, like Adam. Type
Right,
of,
right,
like,
okay, yeah.
So it's just like so
Johnson. Yeah.
Say, and then Feely is just like the morning dew in the grass and everything. So it's just like so like it's just because my father's side they were hunters and everything. My grandfather was a hunter, so it's like they'll wake up really, really early. That's the first thing they see is like the morning dew on the grass. So it kind of makes sense. Like from left to right, it's like black. Key to progress is togetherness. Progress. No, black. Togetherness is key to progress. Firstborn son of the morning dew. So it's like left to right. That's basically what it means.
That's so beautiful, bro. Damn.
Yeah, they
Jacob.
really.
Nah. Nah, but that's beautiful though. I love that.
But it's just like there's a whole lot of emphasis when it comes to names and everything. There's like like putting words. Your words are very powerful. Like when you speak them into existence and everything.
Yeah,
So
of
it's like for
course.
you to even pick the rap name like Mental and like what really gave you that direction of choosing mental because you think like logic and everything.
Yeah,
Like what stood out to you about the word mental?
So mental was really just when it first originated. So my first ever artist name was Tear Dreams
Tear
with
Dreams.
a Z.
Okay.
And I was just really, really emo. I was really emo straight out of high school. I was really, really emo. My actual first ever music endeavor was being in a screamo band.
Oh, okay.
Was being in a metal band in middle school.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, and I was the lead vocalist. I was doing all the screams and stuff. I recently stopped, but
The vocal cords needed to rest.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, man, we're going through it.
Exactly, and a lot of my early rap music is actually very aggressive and screaming, and I think my first song on SoundCloud was actually a black metal song.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So definitely, I'm very diverse in the music that I try to do. But yeah, I would say that like the name itself, Mental, was just the change that I wanted to invoke within myself. And it was definitely like there was some edginess to it, like I was like, damn, this music's mental, like it's crazy, like I'm going mental, like that type of shit. It was just sort of, I guess, a mental break. Like I was breaking mentally, and so I wanted it to be unique as well. And so I just took my inspiration from the SoundCloud, era and stuff like that. X was very important to me. And when choosing my next name, I actually considered him too because, his name is Latin.
Yeah.
And I believe
For temptation.
Yeah, for temptation. And that's something that I really wanted to go towards. So I went with Mental, and then I was gonna change it again after I went to training day and stuff. I was like, this is corny. It don't sound right. Da 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 da. And then I grew up and I grew out of the aggression, and I started being mad about other things. So like otherworldly things. I stopped being mad at just my immediate existence and started being mad at the overall existence. And it came back. I was like, this is perfect. Like, this is who I am. This is who I'm going to be. And I'm not going to run away from it.
Oh yeah, like rap names are like weird like that because it's just like you could always change them and everything, It's just like, but at the same token, it's just choosing like mental. It's like it really kind of helps like kind of lock in with who you are as a person and everything. Ice Cube, he was like cold and everything. So
Exactly.
he's from the West Coast and it was warm out there. But it's just like people take more cold or ice type like iced tea, Ice Cube, and so on and so forth. Choose that way just to kind of invoke that coldness and everything and how cool they're trying to be. And it just just stuff like 50 Cent, naming himself after like a gangster, and now it's named 50 Cent, and then just kind of just try to rise up from poverty into like where he is, like to the point where he like owns studios now and like vitamin water, so it's just stuff like that. So like in your music, do you speak about mental health by any chance, or maybe brush on it? Yeah, so just stuff like that, like people pretty much know what they're getting into. You look into the Mental Threads podcast right here.
Yeah, for sure. I saw that. I was like, branding on point. Got to.
Branding on point.
Yeah, but yeah, I would definitely say that like I definitely make food for the mind. So I definitely think that mental stuck. I think that it's something that like I want to get people thinking. Whenever people put on music, they want something to play in the background, and that's completely understandable. But that's not me. I'm not gonna be always easy to digest, like you said earlier. I'm not always gonna be looking to please the top Billboard 50 or whatever it may be. Yeah, exactly.
Because all that stuff changes all the time anyway.
Exactly. So it's all irrelevant to me. It's all about music.
Yeah, and like building a fan base is more important anyway, because those are the people who's gonna stick out and actually drive like 100 miles to reach out to your shows and everything. And it's just like, it's just for things like that. Like I know, like when I used to work for, who did I used to work for? PNC. It was like, like just parking cars for concerts and everything. They'll let you go in and try to see concerts. I got to see a lot of other artists and everything. I went to Logic's and everything, break and stuff like that. It was really, really dope. And it's just like, but he had NF opening for him, and NF fans were like, that's what they came there for. A lot of them left early and everything because they just wanted to see NF. And I was speaking to a couple, whatever, that was walking out as, why you leaving so early? I was like, oh no, we just came to see NF and just support NF. And it was just like,
die hard right there. That's insane.
People will literally pull up, even if you're just an opening act and everything. And like you either talk about Logic, I didn't want to mess with Logic and stuff, but I really, really like NF and like just like the messages that he pushes out. And I'm not an NF fan. I don't really listen to NF. I feel like I should like probably give some time to really like listen and see.
I heard he's nice.
Yeah, he's really, really dope from what I've heard. But it's like it's really just how his fans really like love him. Like that's what's really carrying him now. And you don't hear about like billboards and stuff like that. Even I can even like acknowledge that and stuff like that. Like it's not all about trying to win records and stuff and like win awards. It's really just really like the impact you have in other people's lives. Like, like I'm going to Dreamville Fest. This is like the 5th time I've gone to Dreamville Fest.
Damn.
And this is the last time, sadly. But I could be able to say like I showed up at every one and everything, and it's just like, it's just knowing, just like I even took pictures, like group photos off a group chat and everything, and we're about to do it again this year for the last year. Like I'm having friends from college pull up too and everything like that. Damn. So it kind of feels like a family reunion to that certain degree. And it's just like, because J. Cole's had such an implication on my life and everything who was really carrying me through high school and stuff like that. So it's just like, for that, I'm always going to support it. Everything. Exactly. I just paid my last payment to even for my ticket for me and my brother to go and everything. Exactly. He owes me $100 just to cover his half of it. But it's like, it's just stuff like that. I'm willing to do that for 5 times. And it's like, they had one, the first one before COVID, and they shut down for 2 years. And I still came back for the last 4. And everything, so it's just stuff like that. That's where I met Jay Ford at. I don't know if you heard of Jay Ford.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I met him right there.
I actually hit him up. He was at a competition event that I did for DDA Tink.
Oh really?
Yeah. She did a competition, and it was basically 3 rounds. Indigo Joe was there. Leo Legend was there. Two amazing artists. They ended up being the top 2.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, my homie 13 Kitsune. He's a more aggressive artist, a little bit underground. And yeah, Jay Ford was there, and he was one of the openers. And I was like, whoa, this dude is like, he's got the style. This was before that, like, I really started going really heavy into the boom bap. I was like, this dude, I guess I do kind of get inspired from that, from artists like him, where it's like they're
good.
Doing it and making it work. So I'm like, I can do that. Like, and I hit him up when I released my EP. And I was like, yo, like if you get a chance, just listen to it. You don't gotta, tell me a whole paragraph. Just listen. At least listen to it.
See how you feeling about it.
And then he hit me up like a week later or something like that, and he was like, yo, send me a link. I'm going to be driving around, Send me a link. I sent him a link. And then he gets back to me, I think another week or 2 weeks later, and he gave me really constructive criticism. Yeah. He did send me a paragraph. Like, he really took his time.
Did not listen to all that shit I said. No problem.
Yeah, no. I wasn't necessarily, like, being like, don't do that, but I was just like, you don't have to.
You don't have to, but he still did it.
Yeah, exactly.
He's dope.
And that's really sort of what you were saying about building a rapport. Like, that's really all this shit is. It's this advertisement and building connections. So when people listen to my music, or if people meet me on the street, I want them to get the same image of me, regardless. It's always going to be me. So you're always going to know me.
Yeah, for sure, man. For real. And I had Jay Ford on the podcast finally. When I got him, I was so great and everything. And it's just stuff like that. It's just like, you see like how far like we've come. Like, I literally met him at a Dreamville Fest through a group chat. That's why I first heard his music. I'm like, man, this guy is dope. Because we were just put out like our songs and everything. My song, it was all right. Everything. His was like, yo, this is like some real, like, how you not blowing up yet type stuff. So it's like something that we've been cool and everything. I see him like at the Charlotte Spark from time to time. And then I see him like I all the Dreamvilles and everything, and I'll just get a picture with him type stuff, and stuff like that. And it's just like we're really growing into ourselves as like individuals. Now we'll look back at this stuff like 10 years from now, like, man, where were you on my podcast? Like, oh, now look where it's at now.
Exactly.
So it's just like that's why I like really tapping in with like other artists and people from Charlotte, because we have so much we have to prove. But at the same time, we're having fun just with the growing process, and we're actually like supporting each other and everything. So it's like that's one thing I really appreciate from this music scene so far and everything. So it's like, in closing, because we only got like 5 minutes left and everything, and this is a dope episode. Just want to let you know.
Hell yeah.
And just in closing, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where does MENTXL see himself in 5 years?
So I see myself around a community of people who acknowledge that I am my authentic self. I see myself around people who are like-minded and have the same attitude that I do. I don't necessarily see myself in a certain position. I definitely do see myself sort of, I want to have, I guess in 5 years from now, I want to have maybe 2 albums out. I'm not trying to crank them out like a lot of local artists are doing. I really want to curate it, and I want to take my time, and I want to be able to build a fan base before I put so much out there. But I really just see myself loving life more and being able to share that with the people around me, because I do have a very limited circle, and a lot of that is because of the stuff that I've gone through. I mean, when you cut off your whole family, like, you learn that you have to be very selective with the people that you let into your energy.
That's true.
And I guess in 5 years, I just see myself being able to be my authentic self without, and people actually fuck with it. So I just see myself as a whole different being. I'm gonna be in a place that I never thought I'd be. And whether that be financially, whether that be publicly, whether that be, mentally, whatever it may be, it's just I'm always going to stop growing, and I'm never going to stop doing what I'm doing. So definitely a lot more versatility in music, because like I said, I do have a lot of versatility in my upbringing whenever it comes to art. And definitely a lot of merch. I want to finalize sort of my pages and stuff. And I got like 14 cents from DistroKid.
Oh, word.
And I was like,
hey,
that's
14
what I'm saying.
cents.
That's what I'm saying. And a lot of people are like, okay, like I just did a show for like $100, and I'm like, it's really just the meaning behind it. And even if I make 14 cents, 5 years from now, I'm gonna keep doing this, and I'm gonna keep spreading the good word.
I'm sure like you'll definitely grow for sure, because like literally like I was impressed just listening off just a couple songs off like an EP and everything, and it's just like just knowing that you're still making those strides to actually be different in a world where everybody wants to hear the same damn thing. That's what's gonna carry you a lot further and everything. So it's just like I really appreciate you for that. I appreciate you for hopping on the podcast, and I appreciate you leaving South Carolina, York, for us to meet here in Charlotte and everything. I look forward to seeing you out there as well. Maybe catch a show in the future, most definitely.
Please do.
I'll do my due diligence. I just hope you subscribe.
I'm going
to. And everything. And I just want to say thank you for hopping on for the Mental Pets podcast, MENTXL. Thank you very much.
Man. Thank you for having me.
That, we're sewing in and we're sewing out. Yes.
Hell yeah, man.
All right.
Woo!
Yeah, man. So how you feel about the whole interview process?